right, welcome everybody to round four. We have got a spicy one here. Now, this Felon Control deck that Roshi is bringing is a little bit different than some of the other ones. It's not really just like the straight Davia. It's a slightly different build.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's actually playing 4 Ransack, and then gets to play cards like Deathstrike and Bowers Authority, and 4 Fall to Ruins, and 3 Speaking Circles. So yeah, like you said, it's not what you would normally expect. And Ransack might seem like a really weird card, but with people playing such good cards these days, and you get to play more situational cards if you plan on discarding them. So, some people like Bottle Insight, some people like Ransack, to each their own, and I'm really excited to see how it ends up.
All right, Roshi going to start things off. Roshi's hand looks a little bit, it looks pretty similar to what you've seen in other places. We've got Exploit, Defile, and then Fatal Misstep, which is a little bit different, but then that Davian hits a little early for the Davia, but 3 removal spells and a Davia and power, you can't complain too much about it.
Yeah, so a Fatal Misstep works very well with your Davias and your Falteroon, I guess potentially, but I think the only units in this deck are Ambitious Mandevella and Davia, but you also have send a message. So you can on 4 power potentially Fatal Misstep and then be able to activate a send a message that gets binned from the bottom of your deck. And that also the send a messages also combos with the ransack, so you have a lot of incidental value.
I don't know how I feel about Sun's Fury calling Avatar back in the day, but you don't need to make me feel that old, Sun's Fury, but yes, I guess technically back in the day.
Yeah, but it came back on Netflix recently. I feel
Yeah.
like there's still newer fans. One of my
Absolutely.
best friends didn't see Avatar until a few years ago,
Yeah.
and now he has an Avatar tattoo. It just means everything to him.
Yeah, I was talking to Gabby about that the other day because Gabby and I went to college together and we watched Avatar, and then I guess she had Luis Scott Vargas only watch it this year or last year, during COVID, and I was like, you haven't seen that before? Like what?
Yeah, how can you be so deprived? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
so
Applechips
yeah,
here,
we
notably on Applechips, does not have a second primal, so 4 copies of Elise in hand, and doing pretty good work with not being able to cast half your hand, but Applechips really wants to hit an undepleted primal and be able to slam one of these Valises.
yeah,
Island's
so
Favor, that's a nice one.
yeah, the game's still just shaping up a little. So, Applechips tends to play a little bit more value deck. So yeah, all these 1 power units, but each of them is drawing a card or producing something when it dies. So there's still a lot of game to be played here, even though it seems like they're just spinning their wheels. No double primal prevents the Belize from coming down this turn, so
Don't tell
you,
Mail, but Applechips just played out a grafter without the without the power to activate it and got it killed.
yeah, for this one, it's evaluating the probability of like your next power that you're drawing also not being primal and Belize not just being the best thing to do there. So you'd rather maybe have your grafter get hit instead of your Belize, and that's exactly
Well,
what
I
happened.
mean, I told you, maybe I should be the seer now. I'm pretty sure I just said undepleted primal off the top. So, channeling my inner Watchwolf, you're just passing it through the coverage move
Yep,
to me.
that's how it goes.
Make these chickens a little bit bigger. Ball to Ruin, though, that's going to wipe the board for Roshi. Wipe Applechips the side of the board, and Roshi's just 1 turn away from playing a Davia. Let's see what Roshi can play here. So it's basically Fall to Ruin, Fatal Misstep, Vara's Favor, Island's Favor, Exploit. There's lots of good options. Doesn't have to be the biggest, splashiest thing, right? You can just play an Exploit, and that's fine. Ooh, Waxing Moon. That's going to be nice with that Auto Tread in hand. Pew pew.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can just off the Davia with just 2 hits if it's deadly.
All right, as I mentioned, that Exploit, though, I mean, a free Exploit, you can't complain too much. Gonna take the Valise. Gonna leave the Auto Tread there. Now you gotta time it right, because it is gonna switch to Waning Moon here.
Yeah, it's always good to either hover over the moon itself or maybe hover over your unit to see if it's deadly.
Yeah, keep an eye on whether it has the deadly or not. You're going to play out a
But like,
second copy. So now
yeah.
I believe that these are going to be both on every turn, right? So you've got the first one is now on the waning moon, and then the new one is on waxing. So he'll have deadly and loot every turn.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for me. So, like, I think when you see a crescent moon, you see, like, about a third or a fourth of the moon, but a wane, like, or let's see, that's waxing crescent, waning crescent. I thought there was definitely something where you see more of the moon. So either we're not seeing the full moon here, or we're seeing too much of the moon. I gotta remember which one.
One or
But
the other.
it's not exactly one moon. That's the problem. Flavor
Right.
fail.
So now this is interesting here. So Roshi chose with that exploit to not take the auto tread, which is interesting because Roshi knew that Applechips had the deadly ready to go with this auto tread and could pick off this Davia. Instead, going to exploit the second copy of Elise, and yeah, that auto tread is now going to take care of that Davia cleanly. Now we know that Roshi has cover from the storm and defile and some other
We hunt as a pack.
some other spells in here. MLNTN, thank you so much for the sub. Much appreciated. 5-month resub. We appreciate the sub, and we appreciate all the support on putting together these awesome things for the stream, like this this bottom line ticker that MLNTN put together. So big shout out for MLNTN for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, one thing that's just great about Eternal in general, like the fact that we have this series and the fact that we have so many great contributors and things like Eternal Warcry and, you know, Friends of Eternal, and I could just keep on going on and on, like really good podcasts. It's just the things that people are willing to do for this community and, like, you know, virtually for free or spending their spare time that they could have been spending with their family. Like, this is like another family for a lot of people.
Yeah, they, you know, the phrase that some people say is it takes a village, right? It's the you need the podcast and you get people to help with graphics and some people to help with TO and some people to help with some, you know, websites and development, and you need all those pieces to put together a good community and a good show and a good series, and we're really appreciative to have so much help and support from everybody. And it's so great, not to bad talk other games, but it's so funny when I do tournaments for other games and it's just their communities are not the Eternal community. And sometimes I feel like we're spoiled because I go in and say, "Oh, this is a different tone in some other games than you get with games like Eternal."
Yeah. And one thing that definitely helps is, like, you can still get your friends into Eternal. Like, people say whatever they want about the game, but, you know, I only started a year ago, and I have, like, a friend from Magic that chose to pick it up because he heard I was playing from Magic, like, and now he just plays Eternal, and he's been doing it for, like, a month or two, and I have another friend that, like, really, like, has been asking me about it and, like, may get into it also. So, like, you know, this game will always be whatever we want to make it. So, you know, go out there, get some of your friends that, you know, used to play other card games. Like, I know Roshi used to play a lot of Magic and now just plays EDH, but loves Eternal more.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth. But.
No, for sure, that's a good point. Yeah. And I think I was going to give Roomdo a shout out as well. I'll get the link there in a minute. But for those of you who don't know, the TNE Challenge champion from I think 2 challenges ago, Roomdo played in there, has only been playing the game for 1 month, I think, or 2 months. Heard about TNE, picked up their first TNE and won the challenge on their first TNE, and then made a video about it and about their first month in Eternal. And it was pretty cool video. So I'll link that down below in the chat. But Applechips going to take that one game 1 over Roshi. So let's get Applechips' Menace Moon deck here. Now, Applechips has been running this deck or variations of this deck for a while now, really trying to get it to work, and, you know, hasn't won one yet, but of course has put up good results. But Applechips is sticking by it, says this is the deck he wants to play. It doesn't matter what anybody brings. Really a believer in this synergy.
Yeah, I mean, Applechips just really likes these value-oriented decks that also get to do very powerful things. So you have a lot of flexibility in your cards. You get to make a lot of decisions, and, you know, I always look forward to what they have to make. And if you've looked at Applechips' deck for, like, the last few events, like, for instance, the one that Carnage, like, was able to qualify for Worlds with and stuff, it seems that Applechips really likes Valise, really likes Prowling Amarok, and just, like, a lot of this tandem mechanics. It goes very well with the fact that they like to play with cards that just have a lot of, like, inherent value. Like, Gleaming Grenadin might be weird, but it's just like, oh, if it always gets your tandem off and then leaves another unit to get your tandem off, and it just keeps on going.
All right, Gleaming Grenadin gonna hit the board first, get in a little cheap shot 1 damage there. And then you got your choice of 2-drop, Vinegrafter, Houndmaster, or get that tempo play exploit here. All right, exploit's going to see lots of options here. Are you an exploit the exploiter?
I mean, only when you think it's right. Like, only if your cards matter that much. But I think you might just be priced into taking the Vara's Authority. It kind of just like wipes all your stuff, and like as long as you know it's in their hand, it like forces you to play on their terms. But knowing that there's like cards like Fatal Misstep in the hands, like every time you like, if Roshi chooses to pass on 2, what are you gonna do? Just not play a unit? Like, I actually would have been interested in potentially exploring just like Roshi passing there and just being like, I'll just Fatal Misstep your next thing, and you know I have a Fatal Misstep. Meanwhile, here it's like, okay, you might be pressed into Death Striking now, and maybe the misstep doesn't get better, but I do know that Roshi's playing like Send a Message, so it's like maybe your Fatal Missteps on 4 are a lot better. That's why I see the Applechips just sending everything in and just saying, I'm going to make your Fatal Misstep bad. You're still a turn off of Death Strike. Like, I'm going to punish you for choosing to play Exploit that turn instead.
Yeah, makes sense. And also kind of missed on that Fatal Misstep. All right, Ransack. TNE preview card. Ransack there. Hasn't seen much play, but you always remember your preview cards.
It made the finals of one of the opens.
There you go.
And it still might win this event.
Ooh, man, getting a Prowling Amarok too. You gotta love Grenahen into Prowling Amarok with exactly 4 powers. Kind of the perfect draw there for Applechips. And notably, Roshi does not really have any like sweepers in hand. Just point and click 1-for-1 removal. Yeah, there's a Fall to Ruin, but that's an expensive one. And no power to cast it. So yeah, the Roshi punish. I mean, I shouldn't say punish, but Roshi unfortunate to not have really a cheap sweeper here in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the exact problem with playing Exploit on 2 instead of leaving up Fatal Misstep. You just like, now you just have a lot of mopey cards that don't really do anything in your hand. So, you know, I understand that there's a lot of configurations that could have made exploiting better, and maybe if your draws are a different way, like if you draw Ransack and stuff, then you like open up your hand to be able to like then tap out, and it feels bad the times they pass back to you, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm not saying it's just a slam dunk play, and I get it.
All right, so interesting turn of events here. So Applechips activates the Vine Grafter, goes to the market, switches a power for the Sinister Rumors. So one, I want to hear what the Sinister Rumors plan was there, but then doesn't cast it after combat, and then Roshi going to fire off the exploit to take whatever Applechips got from the market, which was that Sinister Rumors. So one, I guess the only question there, what was the plan for Applechips with that Sinister Rumors?
I think it's to just hold it until your Amarok dies, because then it would come back with, like, it takes ages for it to die, and then it would come back, and you can give a quick draw, and then you have a quick draw Aegis unit on the way back.
And that's going to be another great draw. Huge hits off these chickens. Grenahen, first time hitting a Prowling Amarok to play. Second time hitting a Houndmaster to play and get a Hound. I don't know if I've seen better Grenahen hits.
Any better Grenahen hits I've seen before it's nerfed.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, that one, Applechips